was charged with a criminal offence. I admitted to that offence, and as a direct result of that, that person is in prison.
I've got
The question I want to ask you, sir, is, what is your own opinion on the fact that someone comes here to preach and someone else wants to come to kill him?
Well, obviously, you know my answer on that. It's the answer that everybody would say. This is a place to preach. It's a place for that. Why someone wants to kill him, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's against everything that we know about freedom of speech.
But we've all Miss Hatoun. I've tried to contact her using various methods.
You can't contact her.
And I've had a response from her. I only hope it was from her. And when will we be seeing you again, Jay? You're not very well known anymore.
I don't live here at all. I come through. I'm on the way to somewhere else.
No, I know.
I'm just here today because we're having a conference here. We're getting different guys up on the ladder.
Yeah. And you're waiting for Uber to take us somewhere at 7 o'clock.
Quickly, what's your question?
Okay, my question to you is, Dude, can you film us? I'm going to ask him a reasonable question. My question to you is, I hear that you've been putting forward a lot of evidence that the Quran isn't literal and there are different versions of the Quran. Yes?
Yeah.
I hear that. Okay. My question is, assuming that's true and there were different versions, and a lot of Muslims will object to that, to me that's not a big problem. Could you then say that would you concede that there is still ethical and teleological merit in the Quran, even if it's not all literally accurate?
Can you give me some examples of where you would say there is good merit in the Quran? For instance, what?
I think probably in Surah 2:177 it says a lot of ethically very sound things about how you should treat other people compassionately and charitably and have humility. So within the Quran, you will find verses which seem to mirror Christian feeling
about.
9:5. I'm not saying that I'm not.
Okay, you're picking and choosing which one you like.
I know. You asked me for an example, so I picked because you asked me to, so I picked. I'm not in denial of the fact that there are problematic elements in the Quran.
So you're aware of that, all right.
Okay, I'm totally aware of that. I also consider there are problematic areas in the Bible, and I could show you a list of them, but we don't need to go there now. Okay, fine. Now, for me as a universalist, this is not a huge problem because I expect human beings to get some stuff wrong, even if they're divinely inspired.
Do you think, though, that many of the actions, the problems that we're seeing that Islam is doing, like with ISIS and Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda, do you not think that there's a reason they're doing those things? Do you not think that there's some type of authority that motivates them?
I think there's a correlation between the two, and I'm against extremism on all sides.
Is that not a reason that maybe we should confront this war?
I think you should confront extremism, whether it occurs in any given religion. I don't think extremism is necessarily an implicit part of Islam, of the Quran and Islam.
It's right through it.
That would be your interpretation of it. It's just I think genuinely.
Okay, give me a peaceful verse. Show me one peaceful verse.
Do I really have to pull out the Quran?
Chapter 2, 117. You said.
I think I said 177. It sounded like 8.
It's actually chapter 2, 19. If they attack you, defend yourself and don't go beyond the limits.
Hang on. Okay, do I really have to do that? I don't normally do much of it. I'm trying to bring religions together. I'm trying to show that religions, including Christianity, have got good qualities. I think the Sermon on the Mount is fantastic. I just think a lot of religions have got more in common than they appreciate, and to overstate their differences and create too much division is unethical, impractical, and also not Christian. I don't think Christian.
Off you go.
Yeah, you've got to get the fight. Don't get a discussion, mate. Have a fight. Go and form that. That's brilliant.
They love that. They're right.
They love that.
Listen, I understand because you're a universalist. You want to get all of us to get along.
Insofar as it's possible.
And we are. And there's no reason that we should not get along because look at how else could you have Speaker's Corner if we weren't getting along?
Okay, hang on,
but could you have a Speaker's Corner?
I marked this as being something I thought. Righteousness is not that you turn your face towards the east or the west. Righteousness is the one who believes in blah, 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 blah.
There you go. So even right there, that shuts me down.
Wait. I can understand why it would. Hang on. To relatives, so what is it? The angels, the book, and the prophets give wealth in spite of love for it. To relatives and orphans and the needy and the traveller who ask for help.
For those who accept this Allah, but I don't.
Okay.
So that's not for
the
me.
general merit of
okay, but you're not exegeting it correctly.
Hang on.
Exegete it correctly.
Okay.
You need to exegete it, what the verse is actually saying.
I do take your point. Nonetheless, insofar as they are advocating within that context a spirit of charity.
But for who? For those who accept Allah. the first part of the verse.
Yeah, he's right,
It's,
he's
it's
right,
just
he's
like
right.
if you, it's like chapter 5, verse 32, which I thought you should have gone to. Go to chapter 5, verse 32, because that's a better verse you should have gone to.
I haven't been that far. I've only read the first three sermons, okay?
Okay. 532.
Okay,
This is the Obama.
Okay, all I'm
this is-
saying, okay, my general statement...
Listen, you've been
there are
talking on.
some-
Now let me respond.
Okay.
In chapter 5, verse 32, which is the one that Muslims love the most, it says, "O children of Israel, he who takes the blood of one is if he takes the blood of all. He who saves the blood of one is if he saves the blood of all." That sounds pretty peaceful to me. And that's about as good as you're going to get in the Quran. The problem is the very first part of the verse, which you also didn't want to talk about in this verse.
No, I'm not ducking
the
your
very
point.
First part of the
I
verse,
do
let me
take
finish.
your point.
The very first part of the verse is, "O children of Israel." So that's not really for you and me, unless we're Jews.
Okay.
So you need to go to the next verse, which this says, "And he who does not accept Allah or his prophet, crucify them and cut off their hands and feet from opposite ends."
Okay, because
that's the one you should have gone to, because that's the one that supports
Can I respond?
and shuts down verse 32.
Okay, can I respond? Because I'm an honest debater. I picked a bit that I thought exemplified some good ethics within the Quran. You countered that if I read the context at the beginning,
Look at the
I was
context.
taking it out of context. I can see that objectively you have a point. I don't think that shuts up my overall theory and impression from reading this book, and from meeting a lot of Muslims, that they can be highly ethical and diligent
Absolutely.
and polite.
Muslims are
and
great.
I think they get that from their
It's not the Muslims I have a problem with that.
Okay, from the 5 pillars. It seems to me that the 5 pillars do instill good ethics and good living in people.
No one questions that.
Okay, good. Thank
No
you
one
very
questions
much.
that.
So at
It's the
least,
book that's the problem.
Okay, but
I said that from the very beginning.
okay, fine. But insofar as the 5 pillars have arisen out of that culture,
No, they don't. The
and
5
that
pillars
way-
aren't there.
I
Show
know,
me
I
5
know.
prayers.
I know. I believe
Show
they're in
me
that.
the
I
shahada.
know. I believe.
Show me the shahada.
I
Show me
never
5
said they're
prayers.
in there. I said they evolved out of it. Yeah. So as a result, there is a direct
But
correlation.
isn't it great that
There is a direct correlation
isn't
between.
it? We go to our book and we find everything we need there. The very 5 pillars that you're saying defines Islam, you can't even find in the Quran.
I never
So
claimed.
where
I
did they
never
come from?
claimed I could. The Hadith. I believe they're in the Hadith.
You
I
said they
could be wrong.
derived.
I
When
know.
were the Hadith written?
Sorry. Chronologically.
When were the Hadith written?
Hang on, wait. Now cut me some slack, okay? Be honest with me, okay?
I'm being
You are
honest,
not naive.
because you're saying these
you
are in the
not-
Hadith.
You are
I'm
not.
just asking,
Okay, sorry.
when were they written?
You are not naive to the notion that there is a correlation, a connection, a causal connection between this book existing and the 5 pillars existing.
No, they're not in here.
I never said they were. That's why I expressed it the way I just did. There is a
But the-
causal connection.
But you like the 5 pillars.
Yeah, and
Yet
you
they're
like
not there.
and you like the 5 pillars.
And yet the 5 pillars that you're talking about don't even come from
Yeah.
the 7th century,
Right.
or the 8th
But
century,
Muslim
or
scholars-
the 9th century.
I never claimed they
So
did.
what century do
I
they
never
come from?
claimed they did. What I am claiming is
For
that
the camera, let me just say,
But, hang
they
on,
don't
what-
begin to appear till the
what-
12th century.
They-
So does that,
they may not.
that which you like, does that represent the Prophet Muhammad or the Quran?
I think it's in the spirit of what the Quran was aiming
Does
for.
that represent
Yes,
the
in
Prophet
the spirit, because
and the
it's
Quran?
about the spirit. I think the fact the 5 pillars has. Don't shut it down. The fact
You see
that
what I'm asking?
the 5 pillars. I'm not being
The 5
unreasonable
pillars
here.
are what Muslims do today.
He's actually trying to disconnect the practice of the 5 pillars, which I think is the main thing, practice, not theory, from the existence of the book. Any reasonable person will say there is a connection.
There is no connection.
There's no
Show me
connection
5
between the
prayers.
5 pillars and
Show
the
me
Quran.
the Hajj. Show me the Shahada in the Quran.
I'm not. I never said it was in the Quran.
Then how can you say there's a connection?
Because if the ethics in this inspires an ethical practice,
Ethics in this
if there's
inspired
sorry.
ISIS and Al
If
Qaeda
there's-
and Boko Haram and all these problems that we're having with these
So
people
we
around the
can,
world.
we can condemn that aspect of the inspiration if it's
That's
true.
in the
But
book that you're trying to support.
But I'm applauding the aspect of the inspiration which leads to the 5 pillars. And
Then you
that's
say
a
you're
reasonable
picking and
assertion.
choosing what you want
That's
to
what you
applaud,
have to do. You
and
have
yet
to-
they're not even in the Quran.
God requires that we make choices and we'll be judged on them. I'm
God bless
picking
you.
and choosing and
You're,
making choices.
you're choosing what you want because you want all religions to say the same thing. But the Quran.
I'm not saying they're all saying the same thing.
You
I'm
say,
saying
you
it's
said at the very
interesting
beginning, I want
that
all
you-
the people to say the same thing.
I'm just
I would
saying-
love if we would all get together.
I'm
That's
not-
what you're saying.
I'm
but
saying-
I cannot if you're not going to use this book, because this book does not allow you
This
to
book-
make that claim.
This book is problematic, no question.
Woo,
that doesn't mean.
Finally got him to say it's problematic.
No, I've already said it. I'm open. I think
But
the
these
Bible.
that you like, the
Hang
5
on,
pillars
hang on,
that you
hang on,
like,
hang
are
on.
not in that
Hang
book.
on, sorry. It's not just all of these books. I think are problematic, but they contain deep common denominator, ethical and
And yet, it's
teleological
this
truth.
book that Muslims claim is eternal. It is this book that they claim
And it's the
was sent
Bible.
down.
And it's the Bible you claim
It's
is
the
eternal.
claim. We
But
don't-
your
we don't-
book's
we've
got-
never claimed the
sorry.
Bible's
Oh,
eternal.
He doesn't, he doesn't.
Sorry, do you
No
not
one
claim
says that.
Okay, does he not claim that?
No, they don't say that.
Is the Bible eternal? Of course not. It's written by men, right?
Look, man,
We know who the men are.
Okay, look, you do have in your book prescriptions like kill anyone with a different religion, whoever does not work on Sunday. Now, I'm not saying this to damn the whole book.
So now
because
you're pulling that, but I love
I'm a
that.
fan, I'm a fan
what
of
does
the
Jesus,
book.
what does Jesus say?
Jesus just gives a sermon on the Mount, which I think is great, because
Jesus
he
in Matthew 5,
contextualizes the
verse
whole
19,
thing.
he says, I have not come to destroy that
The law,
law,
but to consolidate
I've come to fulfill it.
Right.
And what does he say after that? What are the 6 things he says after that?
don't
He gives
memorize it
application
that
after
well.
application, what he means by that. For you have heard it say, that's this, to kill those who you hate and love those who you're friends. Well, what does he say in the very next verse? Love your enemies.
Agreed.
That's the Old Testament. That's in 1400 BC.
Yeah.
We leave that in 1400 BC.
Good. And now that's
why I don't follow that.
Good. Thank you. That's
But I
important
follow
to me.
Jesus.
Good. Me too. More so. I like that you make a clear distinction between the Old and New Testament, because a lot of people think the Old Testament has to be carried with the New Testament, but I think a lot of it's dead
The
back.
Old Testament law we leave in 1400 BC. We follow what Jesus says. He shows it in Matthew 5 that we are to leave that there because that was what they were to do in 1400. Thank God I don't follow Moses. Thank God I don't follow Deuteronomy.
We agree on that in spirit. It does raise some
It's not in
interesting...
spirit. I agree that as my authority.
Okay, I would express that as being in spirit, okay? Because then we'll have
Now, let's get back to what you said about the Hadith.
Wait, we'll have a technical
And let's go
difference,
back.
however,
Let's go
which is...
let's go with what you said about the Hadith and the Quran, because the Quran is their authority for all ages, for all times, for all people. I mean, so everything that's in the Quran is just as relevant today as the day it was written down for all Muslims.
Would you
If that's their authority, and you're going to say you like that Quran and you like what Muslims are doing, yet the very 4
didn't say that. I
criteria, the
didn't
5
say that.
criteria that you're looking for
didn't say that.
to support what you like about Muslims doesn't even come from the Quran.
Sorry, I didn't say I like what Muslims are doing.
You like what the 5 pillars are.
I'm saying within the
Your
philosophy
nose still hasn't gone
of
down
Islam,
yet.
within the philosophy
You
of
like
the 5
Islam.
pillars. Did you not
I
say
like
that?
them, sorry, I do like the 5 pillars, and you agreed you like the 5 pillars.
Oh, right, okay.
Actually, I don't.
Oh, so I thought you said you did. You're allowed to change your mind.
First of all, the very first pillar I don't care for.
Which
There's only one God but God, and his name is Allah. I don't follow
Okay,
that.
fine.
And their
If
prophet
we
is Prophet
assume
Muhammad.
that-
I've already shut that one down because I don't care
If
for
we
Muhammad.
limited that to there is only one God.
Well, see, that's important because that's the foundation for everything else. I have to believe in Allah and His Prophet, and I don't.
Why is that? Is that one of the 5 pillars?
It's the first one.
It's an assertion of faith.
Al-Shahada, the Shahada. You know the Shahada?
I'm starting to feel like I'm maybe an ignorant idiot. What am I missing?
La ilaha
5
Muhammadur
pillars.
Rasulullah. There's only one God
still
but God, and Muhammad is His prophet. That's what every Muslim has to believe and say.
Right,
That's the first thing
what
they
I
have to
said.
say.
So it's the assertion of faith. That's one of the 5 pillars. It's the
It's
protestation
the most
of faith.
important pillar.
Fine, good. Okay, so that one I can see you have a problem with. The other 4 you okay with?
I don't have a difficulty with, but they're not in the Quran. So I have to confront the Quran because that's what
And I'm
Muslims
happy
use.
to confront the Quran in the same way I'm happy to confront the Old and New Testament.
God bless you.
In a constructive
I'm
spirit.
blessed. God bless you. I'm glad you finally agree on that.
On what?
That we confront the Quran.
I didn't say. Hang on, that I can. Yeah, but I confront all texts. Why shouldn't I?
Because
Of course.
you
I use critical thinking to make choices.
You
so
didn't
God
want to
can judge
confront
me.
the Quran about 5 minutes ago. You want to really confront what the Hadith
No,
was
I
saying.
think it's problematic. Clearly, when it goes, women only get to the testimony of a woman is worth half of a man. It takes 2 women
You
to
know
one.
what that is?
I have a problem with that. Obviously, I have a problem with that.
Okay.
I have a problem with the idea that other religions are fundamentally wrong. I have a problem with the idea of hell. I have a problem with huge numbers of things. But I think if it turns out to be
And
true,
yet
that
this is their authority, and that's one reason why
but
almost 2 billion people have to follow that
I'm showing
book.
where I have problems with.
I know you're going to go through that,
Well, okay,
and I'm
fine.
sure that you have a lot of problems.
But if we cut
the
to
great
the
thing about it
essence
is,
of these-
do you have a problem with Jesus?
The life of Jesus through the 4 Gospels, as I understand it,
The
he tries
gospel
to-
of Jesus Christ. Do you have a problem with it?
I don't take it literally, but I think he's a paragon of virtue.
God bless you. That's all I want to hear you say.
Is that reasonable?
That's reasonable.
I
think
don't
we can,
happen
we
to
can
believe,
agree upon that.
I don't happen to believe he walked on water, but I don't think whether he was a paragon of virtue or not depends on whether he walked on water.
I don't think either, but isn't it great? We at least can agree on that.
Yeah, we can, but I believe that once I've accepted that quite possibly Allah did a few good things as well. Sorry, Muhammad did a few good things as well.
Did he?
Muhammad in and of his time. Yeah.
It's the bad things that I'm having a problem with.
But I can look at both. I can look at both things.
When you compare Jesus with Muhammad, are you saying that they're equivalent?
My personal view, and I don't want to alienate Muslims here. My personal view
This is
is
Speaker's Corner.
I see Jesus as being more of the epiphany, a paragon, a moral paragon.
So you
He
rather
never,
follow Jesus than
for example, he never killed. Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily see it as a competition the way you would, because I think they're both transmitting the same
Well, it's
fundamental
what
message.
Jesus has done for me, and this is
Good,
all expected.
good.
It's
If it
because
was-
of the fact that he has done such a great job.
I'm not suggesting you become a Muslim. If Christianity
saying
is
that.
working for you, good. And there's definitely.
What you want me to do is don't diss Islam, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is be open to the idea that other religions contain a spectrum of followers, like the Sufis. Sufism is very different from like a fundamentalist view, yeah? The Sufis are all closer to the Kabbalists. Now, I like Kabbalism. It's a very, very different way of looking at it. It's very non-dualistic, okay? So you've got to accept that within these religions, there's a spectrum of beliefs. It's not all one thing. And we're getting into levels of debate now.
So you want me to become a universalist like you and just say, take a little bit?
No. Be a good
I
Christian.
never will.
Be a good Christian. Better than being a universalist.
And if you see that I'm not,
be open.
then correct me.
I think if Jesus was here, he'd have some sympathy with universalism. He'd at least think their hearts were in the right place. Yeah? I think he'd think our heart was in the right
over here.
Why Muslims so angry? We are not angry, brother. Calm down, man. I'm having a nice day. You keep me on smiling here, man.
Well, I've been away, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, I love what you've been doing, you know that?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of your stuff. It's great. Would you be able to actually give me some references?
Not right now. I've listened to about 3 other people that are waiting for my time.
Chris is also a universalist, incidentally.
Well,
kind of.
yeah.
Okay. Can we wrap this up? Because I
I understand. Thank you for your time.
I really do have a lot of people waiting.
I believe it, and you're a busy guy. It was nice to meet and chat. Maybe when you're back next time,
What's
you
your
can do a
name?
deep thing.
Tony?
Tony. Maybe next time. Again, I like to have genuine. You can
I'll
start
be
to
here
chat.
in October. Let's.
I think I'm not. It's not that I want to be on camera for ego. It's because
Let's
if
go
you,
to
if you have a good
Let's do
conversation-
this over coffee.
Well, the thing is, if you can actually get a good conversation on camera and other people see it happen, it makes
Okay,
things
let's
less
do it over
divisive.
coffee. Bring the
okay?
camera with you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is this your cameraman?
Yeah, I'm the big nose of
Here
London.
you go, the big nose.
You've heard about me, huh?
Nice to meet you. Take care.
And you, Tony.
But you're very lenient with. He was very lenient. Tony,
Oh, good. And was it good? Hi, how are
he
you?
was very lenient with you. I'm not lenient, Tony.
You're not lenient. Why? What am I? Oh, hi. What do you want to
I will
know?
have you another time anyway. The way you're going about Islam is not correct.
What am I doing
He
wrong?
was very lenient,
Well, that was
honestly.
who was I was lenient with him or he?
No, he was lenient to you.
Good. Well, then I assume I did something right.
No,
Okay,
he didn't want
Oh, yeah,
to
I'll be
break
right.
your heart. I will break hearts here, see? I go very hard from people.
The fact that he was lenient, I take to be a good sign, because presumably he realised that I wasn't just there to be conflicting or contrarian. Yeah,
But in
I
a
hope
way,
that's why I was lenient.
you were trying to sort of, I don't know, in the absence of Muslims, slightly defend Islam or Quran.
Yeah, and I think I got him to say on record that, and I'm not trying to hold him to this, and he can change his mind. I got him to say that he could see virtue in the 5 pillars, okay?
Right.
Which I consider, from someone in his position, is a positive statement. He then adjusted it and went, the first of the 5 pillars he had an issue with because it specifically is Allah. But and I take his point, so that's his caveat. But nonetheless, he said he could see some merit in the 5 pillars.
Yeah.
And I think he then made out that he was oblivious to the connection between the Quran and the 5 pillars. But I don't find that convincing, and I don't think most people will. There's a clear connection between the two. So I consider that progress. You've got a guy who is a hardcore Christian, a committed Christian, who's conceded some virtue in the 5 pillars. That's progress, no?
Anyway, yeah, I will talk to you, but before I go, or you go, do you really believe in Quran, the word of Allah?
No, I believe all of these books.
No, my question wasn't you believe all. My question is very straightforward.
What?
Tony, I told you I'm not going to be lenient.
Okay, don't be lenient. It's okay.
So, do you know that Quran is the word of Allah? Choose 3 or 1 or 2, whichever you wish to. Do you think? Do you believe? Do you know? Or I don't
Word
have.
of Allah.
Yeah, Quran
mean-
is the literal, as they say, you know.
No, I don't believe it's literally.
So what is Quran to you?
It may be inspired by Allah and written by man. And
Maybe inspired by Allah.
you framed the question and I answered it. I don't believe God actually writes books. I believe God inspires men and men
One
write
moment.
books.
So you believe in Allah then, yes? If that's your premise.
Can we just call it God? I mean,
No, Allah. We're talking about Allah,
what-
not God.
as a separate, why is Allah not God?
Because God is for Christians, you see.
The word God, I mean the universe. I'm a monotheist, and the
No,
monotheist.
Tony, don't change.
I'm not
Don't
changing.
try to be
I'm not,
clever here.
I'm not being.
You
I'm
know,
not changing.
I
Within
can-
the Abrahamic tradition.
I have been very watching you for the
What are
past
we
few
doing? Within
years.
Look,
You
if
know,
there's
Tony.
either there's one, I believe there is one God. Okay. If there's one God, then all references to God pertain to
Okay,
that
you believe that, yes? Based on what?
Just as what? I mean, how long have you got? Can we just
I've got
assume-
all the time in the world, Tony. I
but
told
I-
you.
but I don't
Even
right
I'm upset with you because you allowed that pathetic. What's his name? The guy who disrespected you. I wasn't there that week actually. What's his name?
I don't know.
You know, you were talking to him and he kept looking the other way around.
Who? Shamsi?
Shamsi, that's the one.
Oh, there's nothing I could do about it. He ran away.
An illiterate man. You're an educated.
I haven't seen it, but I remember it happening. And all I know was,
I was very upset, not because of.
yeah, but it's because it,
I
because
gave
it would.
you high EQ here.
Yeah,
I
because,
don't give that kind
no,
of thing to
because look,
anyone.
if he's got his camera good, there's nothing I could do apart from physically move on him, and I'm not going to do that, right? I had him because he realised I had him, and that's why he turned. And I had
know,
him
that's
because
right.
he said logic. I said, so it's illogical, and he went yes. And what Shamsi does is use philosophy, and simultaneously, because that's logic, is a tool of philosophy, and simultaneously he says philosophy is bad, and he can't have it both ways. So that cuts to the heart of why Shamsi is just full of it.
Yes.
Okay, and most of us know that, and Shamsi knows it, and that's why he turned. But I should be telling him that, not you. But he manipulates his camera crews that way anyway.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not lenient with these people. You're still lenient with them.
Why was I being lenient? I did the best I could to show why he was being
When I catch
contradictory.
him one time, you will see how I will
Well,
make
hang
him
on.
do,
Hold
do
on, hold on,
his
let
tap
me be clear.
dancing.
I try and find common ground as much as possible. Yeah.
With these people, you cannot.
I've tried very.
He wasn't Jason.
Okay,
What's his name?
okay,
Jason.
that's your conclusion. I've tried and tried and tried. I've reached the point, I think, with Shamsi where I think he's just silly.
No,
Okay, the guy is
he's
just
afraid of you defeating him in front of the cameras and lose
but
his followers.
Yeah,
Gullible,
yeah,
naive,
yes.
and
But I think
stupid most cases.
he's not a serious person. I think Shamsi. I don't look. Hang on, this isn't right. Okay,
All right.
I want to have some standards. I don't want to sit here and badmouth Shamsi when Shamsi's
All right, what
not
about
here.
Ali Dawa? Ali Dawa.
No,
What about?
I don't want to
He's not
bad. No,
illiterate too.
No, listen.
Yeah.
If I want to talk about these people, I should talk about them with them on camera, where they can defend themselves. Yeah.
No, what I'm
not like
trying
this
to
because
say, Tony, you trying to some kind of give credibility to these Muslims or validate their belief here.
Well, I don't think I validated Shamsi by pointing out that he was using logic while claiming to deride philosophy. I think to anyone who was watching that, you could see I made a very cogent point, and you could see that he realised it was really cogent, and he turned to someone who got set up so he could avoid the conversation. Okay?
Yeah, because
and I'm happy to do that again and again. And the reason I did that was he gave me a book to read, which is the first time Shamsi's actually come up with any formal. He's actually come up with some doctrinal ideas. Yeah. And I read some of it, and it was kindergarten nonsense. So I came back to it, and
You
I
have
was
it?
about to go. Yeah, I have the book here.
Is it here?
Yeah.
Can I borrow it, please?
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, afterwards. It was a small book because he's got a. I'm bad mouthing. I don't want to bad.
No, you're not bad mouthing.
No, I am.
If he's genuine, he could come.
I was about to. Okay, I don't want to do that. Okay,
No,
so I don't want to get tempted into doing that. He gave me a book. I read a bit. It was nonsense. I came back to respond to him, having read it. He ducked that conversation, and then he tried to make some argument about logic.
Because he knows you're far more educated than anybody else, most of the people here.
Education is secondary. I think it's about. I think I'm certainly more sincere than he is.
Well, in a way, I would say, yeah, but I
I
wouldn't
mean, a
give
lot,
you
a
100.
lot of. I'm still
I
bad
wouldn't give
mouthing
you
him behind his.
100%.
Can we stop?
Tony,
If you want to talk about ideas, let's talk about ideas. What I don't think it's a good idea to do is just bitch about people when they're not.
one day we will have a good chat. Yes?
Yeah, we
I'm
can
not
do-
going to be lenient. I'll tell
We
you
can do
from
ideas.
now.
For the minute, let me circulate. I want to see the Tommy Robinson crowd who are here because it's
Where are they?
Yeah.
Could you unscrew this and give me that book you said, please?
Why am I suddenly?
Become kind to me, huh?
It was just a book on
Thank you.
the logic of it's sort of the usual.
I would like to read that to see what
Yeah.
kindergarten.
Well, it's sort of it's kicking around the. the contingent, alluding to the contingency argument, logical proof of God, that kind of stuff,
Well,
in a really lame way.
well, I can tell you the first premise is not true. Therefore, his
Yeah,
conclusion
what's
is
that?
ball of excellence.
Atheism, materialism, and naturalism. I made some notes in it. If he wants to chat it over, I'm happy to. It's a pretty sad attempt.
Leave it to me. Let me study that.
There are better arguments.
You will see how I catch him out with this book.
If you want to,
Then
but I need it back before you go.
I will give it to you, no problem. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right.
Anyway,
Let me go and have a
because this
pee.
one was live. You see, I'm live on
You're
this,
live streaming.
yeah. So I don't know you with Jason. Was it his name is Jason? Is it?
Who?
The man you talked to.
I don't know. Alexi recommended him. He's a Christian preacher, and he said go and talk to that guy. So I
Jason,
did.
is it Jason?
Alexi, I don't know what the guy's name is.
Yeah.
Apparently he's well known. He's big or
Yes,
something.
Doctor something.
Yeah,
Anyway,
possibly.
I forgot what I was going to say.
But I'm going to
You
be
had a
here.
good chat, actually. I must say. Thank
Yeah.
you. Very
We've got
educational.
some.
But what I was going to say, I have it on YouTube. I don't know if you want it or I can put it on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah, if you want.
Oh, yeah, of course it's good. But because it's the first time live streaming, I don't know how it works, but I'll find out.
I think live. Good luck with it.
Oh.
I mean, I doubt many people are actually watching the live stream at this point. Really?
Yeah, there are actually. I have at least 23 people here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Very
Hello
educated.
to 23 people.
Yeah, these are educated people. You know,
Okay.
I don't know if they're doing any chatting here or writing, but
Okay. Look, pick a topic or to be continued. I'd rather debate or discuss with somebody else.
yeah, you carry on.
But because there's Tommy Robinson people here today, and that's rare, they, I think, are the more interesting people to talk to. The only reason I went to him was because Alexi recommended it.
Okay.
So now I'd like to talk to
All right,
them.
carry on. But
I'll give you this back
I
afterwards.
will.
Yeah?
Okay, thanks.
Cheers.
I had a chat with Tony. He's a good man. I told